Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the PreMed and PreHealth Advising Program Letters of Evaluation workshop. Today we'll be reviewing the different types of letters of evaluation that are accepted by health professional programs. The three types of letters that are typically accepted by health professional programs are committee letters, letter packets, and individual letters. For a majority of listeners today, you'll be applying with a committee letter. Committee letters are preferred by MD, DO, and dental programs. For Northeastern committee letters, we include the full content of all evaluator letters, plus an evaluation by the PreHealth committee that is jointly written by our advisors. For folks applying with a committee letter, we require that you meet all the deadlines and conditions outlined in the committee letter agreement, which is found on your medical applicant portal and in the PreHealth website. For folks applying with the committee letter, your letters of evaluation must be submitted to our office via your medical applicant portal. Medical applicant portal is where you will request your evaluations, track whether they've been received, and where we, as PreHealth advisors, will compile the documents needed for your committee letter and send with your application. The second option in terms of letters that might be sent to your health professional school are letter packets. Typically sent to MD, DO, or dental programs, letter packets include the full content of all evaluator letters and a PreHealth cover sheet. There is no evaluation by the PreHealth committee jointly written by your advisors in the letter packet. Folks may elect to apply with a letter packet, but more often they will be applying with letter packets because they did not meet the deadlines outlined in the committee letter agreement. Applicants must still meet all conditions in the committee letter agreement. However, if they do not meet deadlines, which we are pretty strict about, you might be eligible for a letter packet. Letters of evaluation for letter packets must be submitted to the PreHealth office via the medical applicant portal. The third type of letter that your schools might either prefer or require are individual letters. For programs that don't accept or prefer committee letters, like PA programs or veterinary programs, you'll apply with individual letters. For MD and dental applicants, or for alumni or career changers who are 3 or more years out of school, it's more typical to apply with individual letters, but for MD or dental applicants who are recent graduates of Northeastern, it'll be expected that you apply with a committee letter. Individual letters must be sent directly to your application. They're not sent to the medical applicant portal, and there will be specific instructions within your application regarding requesting evaluations and sending that information on to your evaluators. So getting into a little bit more detail regarding the committee letter format. For MD, DO, and dental applicants applying with a committee letter, the committee letter will include a cover sheet that explains the requirements of the committee letter. We'll also include information on the type of a letter that is attached. So the cover sheet is used for both committee letters and letter packets. We also explain the rigor of Northeastern summer courses. We know that students often take summer courses here at Northeastern, and we share with schools that the level of our summer coursework is on par with the rigor presented in both our fall and spring semesters. We also share that our summer courses are taught by full-time faculty. The cover sheet also explains a bit more about Northeastern's quintessential co-op program. We explain the level of professional commitment that co-op offers as something a bit more extensive than a traditional internship. We also provide details to them about the contents included within the committee letter and the processes of obtaining a committee letter at Northeastern. Following the cover sheet is the letter of evaluation that is written by the PreHealth committee. This evaluation is a competency-based summary of your clinical, community engagement, and research experiences. We also include information about your academic performance during your time at Northeastern. Following the PreHealth committee letter of evaluation are your 3 faculty letters of evaluation. These will include the name degree, academic title, and department of each faculty member that you received a letter from, plus the full text of his or her submitted letter. Following the faculty letters are full PDF copies of all external letters of evaluation, including your clinical letter. All of the above documents will be combined into one PDF, which is sent to your application and is known as the committee letter. The typical length of a committee letter is 7 to 8 pages in total. They're quite exhaustive and thorough. Medical schools and dental schools typically only want to see the committee letter by way of letters of evaluation. It's not standard to send additional letters in addition to the committee letter with your application, unless you are a dual PhD student who has additional letters from PIs that you will want sent to schools where you are applying as an MD, PhD applicant. A little bit more about the committee letter requirements. As you can see, there is one deadline that precedes the required letters of evaluation deadline. January 31st is when your committee letter agreement and your self-assessment is due in MAP. The committee letter agreement is an acknowledgement of our deadlines and requirements. Following January 31st, all of your required letters of evaluation will be due on March 15th. It's a ways away from today, which is November 20th, so you have time to request your evaluations yet. However, that date will come closer than you think, so start to think about evaluations sooner than later. So who will you ask for your letters of evaluation? For the Northeastern Committee letter, we require 3 internal letters of evaluation. 2 internal letters must be from biology, chemistry, math, or physics professors. For some students, you may take some courses with other departments that are very science heavy. We have accepted courses on the list at the link attached as science letters. However, that being said, if you choose to use a letter from the list, from the approved list of courses at the link above, one of your science letters must still be from faculty within the biology, chemistry, math, or physics department. Your third letter of evaluation from a faculty member can be from any academic discipline. However, we advise this be from a non-science faculty person. All of your internal letters due on March 15th should represent experience from a Northeastern course where a grade was earned. The letters must be written by Northeastern faculty. If the faculty person has left the university since you took the course, you may still request a letter from him or her. That being said, you cannot request letters from TAs or from one-credit courses. If you were on a dialogue of civilization and would like a letter from a Northeastern faculty person who taught you there, that is acceptable, as these are Northeastern courses taught by Northeastern faculties, just in a different location. So to recap, who should you ask? Well, admissions committee members are seeking evidence of your academic ability so that they can feel confident that you can handle the rigor of the health professional school that you're applying to. So when it comes to your 3 faculty letters that you request, you want to seek at least one faculty with whom you took a lab course, at least one professor from within your major, and at least one professor from outside your major, to get a broad range of academic competencies that schools are looking for in applicants covered in your letters of evaluation. Apart from the 3 internal letters of evaluation from faculty at Northeastern, we do require you to have at least one clinical letter. Your clinical letter must be submitted by a practitioner in the field to which you are applying. So if you're applying to MD programs, a letter from an MD. If you're applying to dental programs, a letter from a dentist. This experience must represent a clinical setting in the United States within the past 18 months. The practitioner may not be a relative, and the experience has to be a professional experience and not a personal experience with a physician. From the clinical letter, we require we provide the option for 1 to 2 optional letters. These could be from co-op supervisors, a volunteer experience, or perhaps a research PI. You may obtain an optional letter from NU staff or faculty if the experience represented falls outside of the classroom. So we don't let you request an additional faculty letter or academic letter, rather. However, if you're conducting research with faculty on campus or serve as a TA, this different capacity in which you have a relationship with the person may be suitable for one of your optional letters. To recap, who do you ask? At least one clinician in the field to which you aspire. You might also consider asking for letters from researchers, co-op, work supervisors, community service supervisors, etc. And think about ways you can obtain letters from people who are able to present different aspects of yourself and your activities. We would caution against obtaining several letters from the same experience. So for example, if your professional workplace has you working with nurse managers and with MDs, it might not be the most efficient way of getting letters if you get 2 distinct letters from each of these individuals. If you'd like multiple individuals' perspectives about a particular experience represented, you might instead consider a letter that is jointly written and co-signed. There are a few exceptions and conditions to the letters of evaluation, as I mentioned earlier. For example, for folks who are applying to both MD and DO programs, you will need 2 clinical letters, one from an MD and one from a DO. For folks applying to combined medical and PhD programs, it is recommended that both of your optional letter slots are used as research letters. If you miss a deadline or do not choose to request a committee letter, you may request a letter packet. For folks who've graduated less than 3 years ago, you want to be prepared to explain why you've opted for this option to admissions committees. Students applying with letter packets must meet the same letter requirements as the committee letter, i.e., 3 faculty letters and 1 clinical letter. Required letters of evaluation for your letter packet must be received and verified in your medical applicant portal before you can request your letter packet from the PreMed and PreHealth office. For folks applying with individual letters, evaluators will submit those directly to your application service. It's important that you not request these letters through MAP. For folks applying with individual letters, it's also important to ensure that you're meeting the individual letter requirements for your schools. We strongly recommend that at least 1 letter be from a science professor and 1 be clinical. Individual letters are common for programs that do not accept or do not prefer committee letters. In other words, PA or veterinary programs. For MD or dental applicants who are alumni or career changers greater than 3 years out of school, it might also be appropriate to apply with individual letters. Otherwise, MD and dental applicants should be prepared to explain why they chose this option to admissions committee members. Now we'll switch gears and talk more about how to go about requesting evaluations. Before you reach out to your prospective evaluator, you want to prepare. Think about how you might articulate your personal and professional goals. To do this, it might be worthwhile to prepare a preliminary draft of your personal statement. It's also suggested that you collect documents that might help your evaluator in drafting your recommendation letter. Requesting a copy of your unofficial transcripts and updating your resume could be a first step. It might also be helpful if you're applying to medical programs to obtain a copy of the AAMC Letter Writer Guidelines to share with your prospective evaluator. Once you've collected these documents and prepared for the meeting, it's important to contact your evaluator first in whatever method is most appropriate to your relationship to set up a time to meet. It could be by email, in a formal message, or if you work with the person or have a more personal relationship with them, you could always just talk to them in person or text. If your evaluator would like to meet with you, set up a time and bring your documents to the meeting. At that meeting, you want to first articulate the goals that you prepared concisely and explain why you want to be a health professional. Present a summary of your qualifications and credentials. Then, provide your transcript, resume, and the AAMC Letter Writer Guidelines if applicable. It's important in this meeting to explain to your prospective evaluator the importance of letters of evaluation, and also to explain the Northeastern letter process. Clearly let them know what the deadline will be for their letter of recommendation, i.e. March 15th. And if your evaluator agrees to write you a letter of recommendation, make sure to express your appreciation for their time and effort in this regard. After you've met with your evaluator, you want to return and request your evaluations through the medical applicant portal in the letters of evaluation section. When you request your letters of evaluation in MAP, your evaluator will receive an automated email providing instructions on how they can upload their letter to the medical applicant portal, the deadline, and what to include in the letter. If you encounter any problems requesting your evaluations in MAP, you should contact your PreHealth advisor. But before you do this, take a moment to pause. Be sure not to request any letters in the medical applicant portal unless your evaluator has already agreed to write your evaluation and you are confident that you will be able to obtain the complete required set of letters. It is recommended that you have all your evaluations requested in MAP by January 31st, giving your evaluators at least 6 weeks to draft those letters. Students are not allowed to letter shop, meaning you cannot ask for extra letters and then choose which ones you want submitted to your application. Therefore, you should not request any more than 3 faculty letters nor 3 external letters in MAP. So you'll want to brainstorm and only have meetings with potential evaluators that you're sure that you would want included in your set of required letters for your committee letter. Then, once you do request your letters in MAP, it's important that you waive your right to view those letters of evaluation, as most evaluators will not submit a letter that they do not believe to be confidential. Once you've submitted your letter requests in MAP, the status of that letter will change to sent. When your letter of evaluation has been received and your evaluator has uploaded it to your medical applicant portal, the status will change to waiting for verification. Then, once a member of the PreHealth staff has reviewed your letter of evaluation for grammar, accuracy, checking for typos, ensuring it's the proper document, we will manually change your letter status to verified. Letters that are received, meaning they're in a status for waiting for verification by March 15th, are considered as having met our deadline. So back to the committee letter requirements. Again, your first requirement is January 31st, when your committee letter agreement and completed self-assessment is due. Your next required deadline is for evaluation letters. March 15th is when you'll need to have your 3 faculty letters and your clinical letter uploaded in your medical applicant portal. After, You'll ensure that you've met our third deadline, which is the time that you need to set aside to meet with your PreMed and PreHealth advisor for your committee letter meeting. Your committee letter meeting takes place between January 31st and April 15th, following a meeting invitation from your advisor. After you've done these 3 things and met these deadlines, the next step in this process is to sit for your entrance exam if you haven't yet, complete your medical applicant portal, and submit your primary application. While these deadlines are in late June and July, our hope is that you complete these things by the time that applications open in late May and early June. A few final notes before we finish. Once you've requested your evaluation letters in your medical applicant portal, it's important to trust your letter writers. 99.99% of the time, they get their letters in on time. Sending a friendly reminder in advance of the deadline is appropriate and sufficient, but do your best not to hound your letter writers, as they're quite busy and working diligently to get your letters written as quickly as they can. Once your letters are written, be sure to send a note to thank your writers, and do keep in touch with them when you receive news through the application cycle. A third note is that the PreMed and PreHealth Advising Program cannot forward letters to any program other than what was designated on the original request. For example, your original request for an evaluation from MAP explicitly states evaluators to write letters of recommendation for your suitability and readiness for a career in medicine and for medical school, or for dentistry and dental school, etc. We cannot forward these to postbac or master's programs. Finally, if you require any more information or are looking to review the committee letter requirements and letter processes, be sure to check out the PreHealth website, which houses pertinent information regarding the application process to medical school. Thank you all for listening today to our Letters of Evaluation workshop. Good luck in contacting your potential evaluators. Remember to stay professional and courteous, and do your due diligence to get those letters secured by the new year. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.